Fundamentally, it's a crisis of the Eurozone, and that crisis in the Eurozone has political ramifications. When the Euro was founded, it was expected that it would bring countries closer together and that it would lead to more prosperity. In fact, there was always the worry that when you had this large group of countries sharing a currency, that were too diverse to do that. And that the Eurozone, when the Euro was founded, hadn't created the institutions that were necessary for making it work. When the crisis broke out, Greece in beginning of 2010, I think there was a hope that those institutions would be quickly created and the problems presented by the crisis would be addressed. Didn't happen. And what we've had now for 5 years is what might be called a set of policies based on brinkmanship, do whatever the minimum it is to muddle through, to get over the crisis, but not fundamentally solve it, and a set of policies, austerity, that are guaranteed to cause economic stagnation. And they delivered exactly what they promised to deliver, in the sense that every reasonable economist said that those austerity policies were going to lead to recessions and depressions, and they did. Greece is in depression, Spain is in depression, and even in the countries where there's an inkling of bottoming out, getting back to a normal economy is going to be years into the future, and if the policies continue, maybe years and years into the future. So the fundamental problem is the fiscal policy and the structure of the euro. Monetary policy has only a very limited ability to stimulate the economy. We saw that in the United States. We're seeing that in the euro today. No one expected quantitative easing really to return these countries to prosperity. It was only preventing a deeper downturn, only preventing countries going into a sovereign debt crisis. So that's what it was about. It wasn't ever hoped that it would return these countries to real growth. And it hasn't worked. If that's what people expected, they were misguided. So the fundamental issue is you have to reform the Eurozone. What does it mean to reform the Eurozone? Some of the things are already on the agenda, but just going too slow, but others have been discussed and put forward by some members of the Eurozone, but not accepted. So the banking union, including not only common supervision, but common deposit insurance and common resolution, something like the Eurobond, many ways of organizing it, many proposals, some having the ECB doing borrowing and on-lending it, obviously with restrictions, and it can't be unlimited debt, but some form of common borrowing. Changing the mandate of the ECB so that it's consistent with what other countries are doing, not just focusing on inflation, but focusing on growth, employment, financial stability. Industrial policies, policies that allow the countries that are behind within the EU to try to catch up. True convergence policies, because the current structure is based on divergence. And at the policy level, fundamentally, replacing the policies that are designed for divergence for policies that lead to convergence, which means including replacing the austerity policies with growth policies like the investment policies.